The problem with listening to angels, we love our angels, don't we? Sometimes we're listening too close, sometimes. One of the ways I get ideas for Men's Morning Light is I grab the phone and I start flipping through kind of podcast roulette through the Touched by Heaven podcast. And I kind of go through and I landed on an episode in which I was talking about a book, this one here called The Bait of Satan. This thing is so brilliant. Oh my gosh, how it teaches us how Satan plays us. And it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I thought that's really good. Okay, and then I kind of kept flipping, and I landed on something else here, and it's about another book. This one, it's called Immortal Combat. Again, you know what it's about? It's about how Satan plays us. And and I'm going, I think we have a trend going on here. Seems to be a trend. And when it comes to books, we seem to be, we love books about talking to our angels and things like that. But sometimes maybe we should be shooting a little higher, shall we say? Because I ran into trouble in that department years ago. And the guest on this morning's Men's Morning Light, or whenever you have to be watching this, had a similar thing happen. So I'm going to explain mine in a little bit here. But first, I want you to hear about Maria's story. And you're going to hear her, and there might be some noise you hear in the background. She was in her car, and it was raining. So that's where you can hear this little tapping noise in the background. But here's the bottom line. It goes back to episode 82, and it was all about this angel, how's Peter call it? This angel of light that isn't so much an angel. So Maria, in her story, she loves God. Unfortunately, she's gotten in a new age, and so just about anything can fall into her head. All due respect, she has an open mind, and just about anything falls in, and it has in this case. She loves God, but she doesn't understand what she is inviting into her life. And we want to experience more. You love God, you want to experience God and Jesus and angels and all that. We want to have more experiences, which can get us into a little bit of trouble, as was the case with Maria.
Trapper, I believed everything was the light. I didn't believe there was any dark spirits roaming the earth. God is light, God is love, so why would anything be harmful? That was my way of thinking. So there's no evil in this world. I was wrong. I went in search of New Age when I couldn't get answers from Catholicism. But I still would do the rosary off and on. It wasn't consistent, but something also started happening as well. I was in 2012 when I went through that period of wanting to hear voices, hear a voice. I saw something online about if you listen to these tapes, that you could get into the consciousness. That's when, in July of 2012, I actually heard a voice like I'm talking to you. And this voice said he was Jesus, didn't question it. I was thinking everything is light. So, but little by little, I was told not to say the rosary. So for a month, I followed this, and I was given various tests.
Wait, who gave you the test?
The voice would tell me, like, here, put the vacuum cleaner, it'll turn into a rose. So I put the vacuum cleaner, it didn't turn into a rose. Did I question that? No, I did not. And there were other tests that I did not. That was a test in discernment, which I failed over and over again. In August 2012 is when the voices started to get angry and started to get evil, and asked me to choose between God and the devil. And I said, well, I'm choosing God. He goes like this, well, then you're going to have a tough journey. It would be a lot easier. And I said, I don't care. I'm choosing God.
Okay, so as time goes on, the Spirit gives up that and thinks he's got you at a place where now you will choose the devil over Jesus, basically?
Mhm. Mhm.
Why would he think that? Why would he do that? Why not
Maybe
just
because I failed. Maybe because I failed those tests so many times.
the only thing I get is that the other side wants you to do things, follow commands, pick up that, move
Mhm.
that over there. It's going to become a rose. So that's a victory. That's a victory for the dark side. Anytime you
Right.
follow their order, I'm going to do whatever this, who I think is Jesus, is telling me what to do. And then at some point, if you want this to continue, and it can be seductive, it was feeling seductive, right?
Yeah, because remember, I'm thinking God is light. God is light. So how could this be wrong?
Okay, but
At
but he
first,
did say
that's all it was.
Isn't that funny? He told you to stay away from the rosary because that's how powerful the
The
rosary is.
rosary. What followed was for the next 3 days. Um, it was constant voices abusing me, day and night. So I could not sleep. The voices were loud. They were abusive. They were different ones.
And it just kept going and going until finally she had, in order to get the voices to go down, and they came down in volume, not in abuse, but they came down over time. She saw a shrink. Shrink gave her medication. Unfortunately, the shrink advised her away from church things. He thought that would just fire things up too much. So she was, for example, going to go to Fatima in Portugal, where I'm sure the great things would have happened. But no, that's the last place you want to go. So it extended how long it took for her to come back. But over time, as she picked up her rosary, and actually the Touched by Heaven podcast played a role in her coming back also, because as she started listening to all about these kinds of topics and whatnot, things started coming back. So she did come back until all the voices went away. Here's a little bit more of her story.
Of course, I started those prayers right back up. I'd call on Archangel Michael, our mother, and Jesus as soon as I haven't seen, since I've started listening to the podcasts, have gone more Christian. It hasn't occurred because I keep increasing listening to your podcasts.
Well, you're starting. It's making sense, isn't it?
Yes.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's still certain things that Catholicism, and I can't, there's questions I still have for God that haven't been answered, but in time, I'm sure I'll get answers.
Yeah. Well, we're all seekers, and you're a seeker. You really are. You've been through hell and back, but
I am a seeker.
You're a seeker.
I am a seeker. I am a seeker. I love God, and I've experienced the dark, but the light is so much to strive for.
Yeah.
I went full circle. I even sent an email to my family 2 weeks ago when I went back to the church. That's a big deal.
Okay.
I told my mom. My mom was over the moon because she's always been so full of faith and full of the rosary.
What would you say to anyone who's dinging around with New Age things?
Be very cautious. It's the discernment. I always wanted to follow Jesus. Our mother is definitely the path to Jesus.
And our mother, she's talking about our Blessed Mother Mary, who guides us back to Jesus. And then this rosary, your greatest spiritual weapon, right here. Now, you may think this is kind of an extreme. It's not. I bump into this a lot doing what I do with the Touched by Heaven podcast and Men's Morning Light and these kinds of experiences, especially with New Age stuff. And I'll tell you, I had a kind of an experience of my own years ago. I was experiencing things and I was loving it and wanting more. We all want more, don't we? When you have an encounter, it's like, wow, this is cool. Give me some more of that. And to the point where it became a weakness in me, and God saw the weakness and wanted to expose it and fix it, as He did with Maria. So in my case, he starts letting in more messaging. It just wasn't from the good guys, and I'm going, man, am I getting a lot of information here? None of it was true. I thought it was. So this went on for days until finally my son said something to me that corrected me on a piece of information, and I kind of went, well, if that's not right, then that, I'm going, duh, right? So I apologized to my wife and son for them looking at me oddly for a few days there, and it was interesting. I did have a physical reaction. And as soon as I apologized, something happened, and that messaging, I actually felt this physical closing of that door. It was just gone. Hasn't been back since. And it was like, what a gift. What a gift. All of a sudden, things became silent again in a wonderful, peaceful way. And then I went to confession. And then this blessing spigot just got turned on full bore. And it was like, welcome back now. And again, what was so cool about the experience that he gave me was that right after that, a couple of days, I heard from somebody who wanted to be on a podcast, had a story about this angel contacting her, and she starts going through this stuff that was kind of like you just heard with Maria, but times 10. And I said, and I just stopped her kind of in the middle of her story as she was telling me all this stuff that she was receiving. And I said, you're Catholic, right? She goes, yeah. You're not praying a rosary anymore, are you? She goes, no. And you're not going to mass? No. You're not going to confession, are you? No. And all these things that this angel was guiding her to, and that's always the question: is the angel taking you to Christ or away? Big clue. We pay so much attention to our angel. I love my angel. I talk to my angel. I ask my angel for prayers and all that, but that's not where you want to be. You want to be up there with the Trinity. You want to be there with the Holy Spirit. You want to be there with Jesus. Angels are great. A lot of great books written about them, but there's just a lot of nonsense about angels too because of that dark side. So all of a sudden, people were contacting me with stories that either needed a little redirect or had a similar experience to Maria and were sharing it to warn others, be careful of what you're asking for and what you're receiving. So there was that. So anyways, I want to show this book again because going back to now, this seems like an extreme. More people are experiencing this than you think, but on just the basic level, when you look at, let's see, I can't remember which one we're going to show first, and I'm the blind guy. Let's say it's a Mortal Kombat. I probably chose wrong. In a Mortal Kombat, one of the things the author stresses, and this is Father Longenecker, he says, we need to be warriors, not wimps. He said, inside every saint is a warrior. That's what we should be. Sometimes you see paintings or whatever of saints. They look so wispy. And no, warriors. They are warriors. Look at what Jesus did in his public ministry. Where did he go first to do battle? Out in the desert, 40 days, and then there was the devil. There's the battle. There's Jesus up against the devil. That's the encounter. That's the encounter right there. So, and look how the devil plays us. Again, look how the devil plays us. He pits us against each other. Catholics taking pot shots at Protestants. Protestants taking pot shots at Catholics. I see it all the time on comments on our YouTube. They'll go off against Mary. All of a sudden you have battles about Mary and popes and all this kind of stuff and intercessory prayer and saints. And it's like Catholics, Protestants are not the enemy. Protestants, Catholics are not the enemy. The devil is the enemy, and he tries to divert us. So taking a look again, I'm going to give you these two book recommendations again. You have a Mortal Kombat, and you have The Bait of Satan. Both of these books are so good at helping you understand the mind of Satan and how he plays you and plays me in our daily lives. I love what St. Ignatius of Loyola talked about, how he broke it down to just about every decision we make. It boils down to, are we going towards Christ or towards Satan? He boils it down to almost every decision, every action. And you can, how do you see that? I picture it this way. You got a piece of pie, your favorite pie. In my case, it's a hot baked apple pie, a little ice cream on the side. And you take that first bite and you get a little bit of heaven. It's so good. I mean, it's just, oh my gosh, this is so, second bite it's not quite as good. First bite is just a little piece of heaven. But if I keep eating that pie and then another piece, and eat the whole pie, now we're into gluttony. Now we're over on the other side. Again, every decision takes us towards that the real piece of heaven or the evil one way or the other. Which way are we going? So it reminds me a little bit, last year we had our seminarian that came to our parish, and he decided to speak on the devil. And at the end of his talk, you know what he got at the end of words? Applause. He got in all my years, I don't remember anybody getting applause at the end of a homily. He got applause. The seminarian got applause. I sent him a text saying, well, you can retire now, because he had the guts to talk about the evil that is out there, the bait of Satan and this immortal combat we are in. So whether it's on a voice level, wanting to encounter more. Let's be careful out there about what we're reading and to what level we want to rise. Let's pray about that, okay? Let's pray about that. Let's go to Mary. Hey, Mary, Our Lady of Guadalupe, patroness to the Americas, patroness to the Knights of Columbus. That's where Men's Morning Light does bubble from. We go to you because no one gets us to Jesus faster than Mom. We thank you for the rosary. And you brought that rosary to St. Dominic in the 1200s, and you said, this is a gift from the Trinity. This is your greatest spiritual weapon. Pray this every day. Preach this. And you'll notice those who are praying their rosary every day aren't having these kinds of battles that Maria was having. She'd kind of given up on it. And I got away from it too. It's back in force now. Jesus, you came with a sword. That's what you said. You didn't come to make peace. You came with a sword to divide. And the one you're trying to divide us against, it's not each other, but against the devil. It is combat. We are to be warriors, not wimps. God bless you in your battle. See you next week on Men's Morning Light.